Jade Monroe had always been careful about her privacy online, or at least she thought she had been. The 19-year-old graphic design student kept her Instagram private, never posted her last name anywhere, and always thought twice before sharing anything personal. But SnapMap was different. It was just for friends, right? People she actually knew. She'd set it to show her location only to her friends, figuring there was no harm in letting her college buddies see when she was at the library or grabbing coffee between classes. The first time she noticed something odd was on a Tuesday evening in late October. Jade was curled up on her second-hand couch in her tiny studio apartment just off campus, mindlessly scrolling through Snapchat while some true crime documentary played in the background. She opened SnapMap out of boredom, zooming in on her own location to see if any of her friends were nearby. That's when she saw it. Another Bitmoji avatar practically on top of hers. The username read 8472watcher, and the profile was completely blank. No snap score, no profile picture, no story posts. Just that generic ghost icon staring back at her. Jade frowned and tapped on the profile. She didn't recognize the username at all, and when she checked her friends list, they weren't there. How could someone who wasn't her friend see her location? She screenshot the profile and quickly switched her SnapMap to ghost mode, her heart beating just a little faster than before. Must be a glitch, she told herself. Snapchat was always having weird bugs. But the next morning, when she cautiously opened SnapMap again, still in ghost mode, she felt her stomach drop. There was a snap from 8472watcher waiting for her. She didn't remember accepting any friend request from this account. Her thumb hovered over it for a moment before she opened it, immediately regretting her curiosity. The image was dark and grainy, taken at night. It showed the front of a brick building that made Jade's blood run cold. It was her apartment complex. The angle was from across the street, probably taken from the parking lot of the bodega on the corner. There was no caption, no explanation, just that one unsettling image. Jade immediately screenshotted, her hands shaking slightly as she did. Over. The next 3 days, more snaps came, each one more disturbing than the last. A photo of the coffee shop where she studied every Wednesday afternoon, taken from outside through the window. A video pan of the campus quad where she usually ate lunch, lingering on the exact bench she preferred. A picture of the bus stop she used every morning, time-stamped from 7:45 a.m., exactly when she waited there for her 8 a.m. design class. Jade blocked 8472watcher immediately after the bus stop photo, her heart hammering in her chest. But relief lasted less than 24 hours. The next evening, a new account appeared, 8473watcher. Then, 8474watcher. Each time she blocked one, another would add her within hours. The snaps continued, each one proving that whoever this was knew her schedule, her habits, her exact movements throughout the day. The breaking point came on Sunday night. Jade had spent the entire day inside her apartment, too paranoid to go anywhere. She ordered food delivery, worked on assignments from her laptop, and kept checking SnapMap compulsively even though she remained in ghost mode. Around 11 p.m., her phone buzzed with a new snap, this time from an account called You Can't Hide 82, her Yao. Hands trembled as she opened it. The photo was taken from ground level, pointing upward at a building at night. Her building. But this angle was different from the first one. This was taken from directly below, looking up at the 3rd floor. At her window specifically, the window where her desk sat, where she was sitting right at that very moment, her laptop screen casting a blue glow that would be visible from outside. The caption read, "Nice laptop stickers." Jade jumped up from her desk and rushed to her window, yanking the curtain shut so hard one of the rings broke off the rod. She checked the locks on her door twice, then grabbed her phone and pulled up her friend list, scrolling frantically for her neighbor Marcus's name. Marcus Way lived 2 doors down, and they'd become friends during freshman orientation. He was a junior studying computer science and always seemed level-headed and practical. She called him instead of texting. He answered on the 3rd ring, sounding groggy. "Jade? It's almost midnight, Someone's been watching me." She interrupted, her voice cracking. On Snap Map. They're taking pictures of my apartment. They know which window is mine. Marcus, I think they're outside right now. There was a pause, then she heard movement on his end, the sound of him getting out of bed. I'm coming over. Keep your door locked and don't open it until you hear my voice. I'm calling campus security too. Jade sank down onto her floor back against the wall beneath her now covered window and waited. Her phone buzzed again. Another snap. She almost didn't want to look, but she had to know. With shaking fingers, she opened it. This time it was a video, 10 seconds long. The footage was dark and shaky, showing someone walking along the sidewalk outside her building. The camera panned up to show the third-floor windows, zooming in clumsily on hers. Even through the curtains, you could see the faint movement of shadows inside. The video ended with the camera flipping to selfie mode for just a split second, but whoever was holding the phone covered the lens with their hand. All Jade could see was the dim outline of fingers blocking the camera. Then the snap ended. The caption simply read, "Soon." Marcus Way had always prided himself on being rational. As a computer science major, he approached problems logically, breaking them down into manageable pieces. But sitting in Jade's apartment at midnight, scrolling through the disturbing snaps she'd screenshot, he felt something he rarely experienced, genuine fear. This isn't just some creep with too much time on their hands, Marcus said, zooming in on the photo of Jade's window. Look at the metadata if we can pull it. The frequency, the coordination. Jade, I think we need to take this to the police, not just campus security. Jade wrapped her arms around herself, sitting cross-legged on her couch. She'd changed into sweatpants and an oversized hoodie, as if more layers could somehow protect her. Campus security said they'd do extra patrols tonight. They told me to document everything and come to the student safety office tomorrow morning. That's not enough, Marcus muttered. But he didn't want to scare her more than she already was. He'd walked the perimeter of her building before coming up, checking the parking lot and the surrounding area with his phone's flashlight. He hadn't seen anyone suspicious, but that almost made it worse. Whoever was doing this knew how to stay hidden. Marcus stayed until almost 3 a.m, only leaving when Jade's roommate, Christina, finally came home from her boyfriend's place. But as he walked back to his own apartment, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. He glanced over his shoulder twice, seeing nothing but empty hallways and the flickering fluorescent lights that the building manager kept, promising to fix. When he got home, Marcus opened Snapchat and checked his own Snap Map. He rarely used it, usually keeping it in ghost mode because he valued his privacy. But tonight, curiosity and concern made him look. His heart sank when he saw it, another Bitmoji avatar overlapping with his location. The username, 8475Watcher. No, he whispered to his empty apartment. He quickly screenshot it and opened his messages to text Jade, but before he could type anything, a snap came through from the account. Marcus felt ice in his veins as he opened it. The photo showed the hallway of their building. His hallway. The angle was from down near the stairwell, pointing toward his door. Someone had been standing there maybe just minutes ago while he was inside Jade's apartment. The caption read, "Helpful friend." Marcus immediately switched to ghost mode and blocked the account, but he knew it wouldn't matter. Just like with Jade, they'd come back under a different name. He screenshot everything and sent it to Jade with a message. "It's happening to me too. We need to talk tomorrow. Lock your door." Sleep didn't come easily that night. Every small sound in the building, footsteps, in the hallway, doors closing, the old pipes groaning, made Marcus jump. He pushed his desk chair under his doorknob as an extra precaution, something he'd seen in movies but never thought he'd actually do. The next morning, Marcus and Jade met at a coffee shop off campus, somewhere they'd never been before. They both arrived in ghost mode, both paranoid and exhausted. Jade looked like she hadn't slept at all, her eyes red-rimmed and her usually neat dark hair pulled into a messy bun. "Show me what you got," she said immediately, not bothering with small talk. Marcus pulled up the screenshots on his phone. As they compared images, a horrifying pattern emerged. The snaps sent to Marcus had been taken at times when he was helping Jade, when he'd walked the perimeter of her building, when he'd been in her apartment, when he'd walked back to his own place. Someone had been watching both of them, documenting Marcus's attempts to help. "They're tracking both of us now," Jade said, her voice hollow, "because you tried to help me." Before Marcus could respond, both their phones buzzed simultaneously. They looked at each other with wide eyes before checking their screens. New accounts had added them. "We see you, J, and we see you, M." "We?" Marcus said. "Multiple people?" They opened the snaps at the same time. Marcus's showed the coffee shop they were currently sitting in, taken from outside through the large front windows. Jade's showed the exact same image but from a slightly different angle, maybe 20 feet away from where the first photo was taken. "There's more than one of them," Jade breathed, her face going pale. "Marcus, they're here right now." Marcus grabbed Jade's hand across the table. "Don't look around, don't let them know we've noticed. We're going to get up calmly, walk to my car, and drive straight to the police station. Not campus security, the actual police." But as they stood to leave, both phones buzzed again. This time it was videos, sent within seconds of each other. Jade's video showed Marcus from behind, clearly filmed from inside the coffee shop. He was wearing his navy blue jacket and jeans, unmistakable. Marcus's video showed Jade, also from behind, her purple backpack visible. The videos had been taken just moments ago, which meant, "They're inside," Marcus said urgently. "They're in here with us." He scanned the coffee shop quickly, trying not to be obvious. There were maybe 15 people scattered around. Students on laptops, a few people in business attire, a couple sharing a muffin, an older man reading a newspaper. Any of them could be holding a phone discreetly, or all of them could be involved. Marcus made a decision. "We run on 3, straight to my car, don't stop for anything." Jade nodded, gripping her backpack strap so tightly her knuckles turned white. 1, 2, 3. They bolted from the coffee shop, drawing startled looks from other customers. Marcus didn't care. They sprinted across the parking lot to his beat-up Honda Civic, and he fumbled with his keys for an agonizing moment before getting the doors unlocked. They threw themselves inside, and Marcus peeled out of the parking lot faster than he'd ever driven in his life. "Are they following us?" Jade asked, twisted around in her seat to look out the back window. Marcus checked his mirrors frantically as he drove. "I don't see anyone. But Jade, we need to turn off our phones. If they're tracking us through Snapchat or some other app." "They already know where we live," Jade interrupted. "Turning off our phones won't matter." She was right, and they both knew it. Marcus drove to the police station anyway, his hands gripping the steering wheel so hard they hurt. When they arrived and finally felt safe enough to check their phones again, they found dozens of new snaps waiting. The police detective assigned to their case was a tired-looking woman in her 40s named Detective Patricia Orozco. She listened to their story with increasing concern, taking notes and examining the screenshots they'd collected. When they showed her the videos from the coffee shop, her expression darkened. "This is coordinated stalking," Detective Orozco said, leaning back in her chair. "We're talking about multiple perpetrators tracking your movements both digitally and physically. That's beyond typical cyberstalking. Have either of you received any direct threats, demands for money? Anything that might indicate motive?" Marcus and Jade shook their heads. "Just the snaps," Jade said quietly. "They're just watching us, letting us know they're watching us." Detective Orozco pulled out a form. "I'm going to file this report and forward it to our cybercrimes unit. In the meantime, I want you both to document everything. Don't delete any messages. Switch your Snap Map to ghost mode permanently. I know you already have, but keep it that way. Consider deactivating your Snapchat accounts entirely. And most importantly, don't go anywhere alone. Stay together, stay in public places, and call 911 immediately if you see anyone suspicious." They left the police station feeling marginally better but still terrified. Marcus drove Jade back to campus, and they agreed to meet at the library, a public place with security cameras, to figure out their next steps. Both of them deactivated their Snapchat accounts before going inside. For 2 days, nothing happened. No mysterious snaps, no strange notifications, no feeling of being watched. Marcus and Jade started to hope that maybe involving the police had scared off whoever was tormenting them. Maybe it was over. Then, on Thursday afternoon, Marcus returned to his apartment after class to find something taped to his door. His heart stopped when he saw what it was. Printed screenshots of his Snap Map location, showing his movements over the past 2 weeks. His apartment, the computer science building, the dining hall, Jade's apartment, the coffee shop. Each screenshot was time-stamped and had handwritten notes in red marker. Tuesday 3:47 p.m., Wednesday 8:23 a.m., Friday 11:15 p.m. With shaking hands, Marcus ripped the papers down and immediately called Jade. "They know where I live. They were at my door. I'm coming to get you right now." When he arrived at Jade's building 10 minutes later, she was waiting outside, her face ashen. She held similar papers in her hands, screenshots of her own Snap Map locations, also annotated with dates and times. Someone had taped them to her. Door 2. "How is this possible?" Jade asked as they sat in Marcus's car, staring at the disturbing evidence. "We deactivated our accounts. We've been in ghost mode. How do they still have all this information?" Marcus's mind raced through possibilities. They must have been screenshot everything before we went dark. They've been collecting data on us for weeks, maybe longer, but Jade? He looked at her seriously. "This means they know where we live. They've been to our apartments. They have physical access." That night, neither of them stayed in their own apartments. Marcus's friend Derek, who lived in a different building across campus, let them crash in his living room. They filed another police report, adding the printed screenshots as evidence. Campus security increased patrols around their building and installed additional cameras. Detective Orozco called them Friday morning with news. "We've been investigating and we found something concerning. Your case isn't isolated. We've had 4 other reports in the past month from college students in the area, all involving Snap Map stalking, all with similar patterns. Multiple accounts, coordinated surveillance, escalating behavior." "Do you know who's doing it?" Marcus asked, putting the call on speaker so Jade could hear. "We're getting close. The cybercrimes unit traced several of the accounts to IP addresses associated with a specific apartment complex near campus. We're executing a search warrant this afternoon. I'll call you as soon as we know more." The wait was agonizing. Marcus and Jade stayed at the campus library, surrounded by other students trying to focus on homework but mostly just refreshing their email and checking their phones. Around 6 p.m., Detective Orozco called back. "We made arrests," she said, and both, Marcus and Jade, exhaled in relief. 3 individuals, 2 male college students and 1 female. They were running what they called a game. They'd identify targets on Snap Map, create multiple accounts to track them, and see how long they could surveil someone before getting caught. They kept detailed logs, took turns following targets, in person, and competed for points based on how close they could get without being detected. Jade felt sick. A game? They terrorized us for a game. They didn't see it that way. Detective Orozco continued, her voice hard. They thought they were just observing and that it was harmless fun. They claimed they were never going to hurt anyone, just watch. But intent doesn't matter. What they did is illegal. We're charging them with stalking, criminal trespass, and cyberstalking. With the evidence we found on their computers and phones, including logs of all their targets, we have a solid case. "Who were they?" Marcus asked. "Did we know them?" There was a pause. "One of them was in your database systems. Class last semester, Marcus. Tyler Brennan. He noticed you on Snap Map and added you to their target list. When Jade started appearing in the same locations as you, they added her too. The other 2 are roommates, Jennifer Pack and Austin Rodriguez. None of them have prior records. They're all facing serious charges now." After the call ended, Marcus and Jade sat in silence for a long moment. The library buzzed with normal student activity around them, people studying, chatting, laughing. Life going on as usual, unaware of the darkness that had been lurking so close. "Tyler Brennan," Marcus finally said. "I remember him. Quiet guy, sat in the back, always on his phone. I probably helped him with homework. They were treating us like entertainment," Jade whispered, her voice cracking. like we were characters in some twisted reality show they created. Over the following weeks, as the legal process unfolded, more details emerged. The three stalkers had targeted over 20 people in total, keeping elaborate spreadsheets tracking their movements, habits, and routines. They'd created a private Discord server where they shared their surveillance photos and videos, cheering each other on and strategizing about how to get closer to their targets without being noticed. They'd never planned to physically harm anyone, their lawyer claimed. But the psychological damage they'd caused was real and profound. Marcus and Jade both had to give statements, provide evidence, and relive their nightmare multiple times for investigators, and eventually in court. The three perpetrators pleaded guilty to various charges and received sentences including jail time, probation, restraining orders, and mandatory counseling. 6 months later, Jade and Marcus sat at that same coffee shop where they'd first realized they were being watched by multiple people. It had taken time, but they were healing. Jade had switched her major to cybersecurity, channeling her trauma into purpose. Marcus was working with the university to develop better safety protocols for students and educating people about the dangers of location-sharing apps. "Do you ever think about re-downloading Snapchat?" Jade asked, stirring her coffee. Marcus shook his head firmly. "Never. Some things aren't worth the risk. What about you?" "No," Jade said. "I miss parts of it, but I can't. Every time I think about SnapMap, I remember that feeling of being hunted, of being someone's entertainment." She looked out the window at the sunny street, students walking past, living their normal lives. "I just hope our story helps other people understand. When you share your location, you're trusting that everyone who can see it has good intentions. We learned the hard way that not everyone does." They touched their coffee cups together in a quiet toast, to survival, to friendship, and to the hard-won peace of knowing their stalkers were behind bars. The nightmare was over, but its lessons would stay with them forever. In a world where being constantly connected had become the norm, they'd learned the value of sometimes disappearing, of being truly invisible, of protecting the one thing that should always belong to them alone, their privacy. Ghost mode wasn't just a setting anymore. For Marcus and Jade, it had become a way of life, a reminder that some things should never be shared, and that the most dangerous monsters aren't the ones in horror movies. They're the ones who turn real people's lives into a game. The end. This story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of location-sharing features on social media platforms. While SnapMap and similar features can be useful for staying connected with friends, they can also be exploited by those with malicious intent. Always be mindful of who can see your location, and remember, ghost mode exists for a reason.